So in this episode, guys, I will be interviewing Ping Jun from Smobble, and that's Smobble, okay? And for those of you who do not know who Ping Jun is, he is the definition of the modern hustler. I say this because I used to be a student in one of his boot camps, and that was way before I started any of my online businesses. And some of my friends even call him a money-making machine when I was asking, hey, what do you think about Ping Jun, right? So to be completely candid, his knowledge and motivational skills were a huge contributor to my success as an entrepreneur. So Ping Jun, so glad that you were able to join me here today, and it's my honor to have you here, right? So for some of our audience that are not very familiar of who you are and with you, right? Can you share your story with us, how you got started, and also some of the breakthroughs that you had in your journey?
Let's talk about how I stumbled upon the online business by accident. Okay, it was more through desperation. I was working on one of my first jobs that paid me about $400 US a month, give or take, converted it from Malaysian ringgit. And I actually worked on that job for 2 years, and the reason for that is because I didn't do well in school. And most people didn't want to hire me because they were all judging me from the results that I got from university. So because of that, one day I saw this website that apparently this guy called Luke Brown, he did over $1 million in selling ebooks in the World of Warcraft market. And I thought to myself, this is crazy. Like, how is it? I played World of Warcraft at that time. How is it possible that somebody who did what I did could make over $1 million US? And at that time, even $1 million US is a number that I can't even comprehend. It's a number that was unimaginable. Like, to me at that time, if you've ever earned $400 a month, you will not be able to reach $1 million even if you worked your entire life. Or maybe you could, I don't know. My math is very bad, okay? So I thought to myself, what if I could do 10% of what he did? I would be set for life. Like in Malaysia, if you could do 10% of that, I think you'll have a very comfortable life. So that was my goal, my dream and ambition. Because somebody else did it, I thought to myself, maybe I can do 10% of what he did. And that is what got me started. My first 1 year, I pretty much dove into the entire thing of online marketing. I started reading the books. The last time it wasn't like that at all. You don't get like a bunch of free training on YouTube. There's no seminars pretty much. The only way to do it is to buy all these different ebooks and courses that's online, and some work, some not so much. But that's how I started off. I started off making my first dollar in the World of Warcraft market, and then I took what I did and I scaled it across all these other gaming markets, across other niche markets. I actually went into like dating and Forex and gardening and a lot of these different niche markets. And that's how I started off, and that's how I scaled the business.
Right, interesting. So I'm just really curious because I used to be a World of Warcraft player myself. I was a troll mage, I think, if I remember correctly. So how do you create your own products to sell for these things, or do you do affiliate marketing? Do you sell other people's products?
I believe that the whole business model and ecosystem is all about creating your own thing first. I believe that many people say that it's possible to build a business promoting other people's stuff through whether it's Amazon or drop shipping or any other methods. But the truth is, while that is possible, my way of doing it is always, to me, promoting somebody else's product as your main business is not really a business model. Because the truth is, you never really know when, number one, they might pull off the affiliate program and you lose out your entire stream of income. Number two, you don't know if there's some sort of government intervention in that particular niche. I've seen people build 7-figure businesses promoting somebody else's thing, whether it is network marketing, whether it is one of those BizOps thing online. I've seen pretty much the FTC come in, shut the entire thing down, and it lost the entire business like that. So while it's nice to say, oh, let me start a business by promoting somebody else's business first, to me, that's not a sustainable business model. I believe that affiliate marketing should be a side thing as a result of you promoting and building your own main thing first. So for me, do I promote other people's stuff? Yes. In fact, I've been a top affiliate for many other products out there, but my business is not in promoting other people's product. My business is in building my business first. And as a result of that, I use those leads to promote stuff that my customers actually need, that would actually help my audience. And that's how I integrate affiliate marketing into my actual business.
Right. So you use affiliate products as a way to supplement your main business. Am I correct?
Yes. Affiliate marketing should always be part of the business model where it is an indirect thing of your actual business and not your actual business.
Okay, that's very clear. I'm pretty sure a lot of our audience would feel like that's very valuable for them. So
yeah, and let me just kind of elaborate that, because I feel that especially in this marketplace, it's an easy dream to sell, to say, hey, did you know you can start a business without any inventory, without any risk, without any website? You don't even need any capital because you can just promote other people's stuff. That is actually an easy sell, right? Straight away people are like, what? That's possible? Yeah. Yes, it is. But the reality of it is that if you take a look at every single top affiliate in the world for any product, whether it is promoting a supplement, whether it is promoting ClickFunnels, whether it's promoting a software or product, I guarantee you every single top affiliate for that product, for that program, is a top affiliate because they have their own thing, because they have their own audience, and that their main business is not promoting that person's business.
So let's dive in a little bit deeper. Why do you say that? What does having your own product offer that that is able to help you sell other people's products? Like what is the main key?
Okay, the main key is first thinking about who it is you serve and the result you generate. That is step one for anything. Who do you serve? Result you generate. The main mistake people make is they go into a market and they say, I want to make as much money as possible. Therefore, I'm going to target a very broad audience so that the more people I can get into my offer, the more money I'll make. Without realizing that being broad and being a generalist actually weakens you and not strengthens you. It is only possible to go broad after you've been really mainstream and you've targeted and dominated different niches. Right. So the way to do it is, rather than saying, I sell solutions for Facebook ads, because that's red ocean. Everybody is trying to do a Facebook ad agency. However, it's going to be a lot easier to corner your niche if you say, I specialize in in Facebook ads specifically for gym owners. And every single top gym owner in my region is all a client of mine. And imagine with that positioning, for me to get a client who's a gym owner is going to be a lot easier because I've positioned myself and I've niched down as the specialist for Facebook ads for gym owners.
Right.
So in order to be good at affiliate marketing, you start off with who do you serve, what is the result you generate, and then from there you think about what are the other things they are going to buy anyway, and it's just a matter of positioning the thing that they're going to buy anyway in front of them. So in other words, good affiliate marketing is not about persuading somebody from a no to a yes. Good affiliate marketing is thinking about who are the people that's already saying yes, and how can I position that offer in front of them.
Right.
So in other words, to go even deeper in this process, it would be, if you were to promote something, let's say I want to promote a software let's take ClickFunnels, okay? I want to promote a software to build sales funnels online. Rather than trying to convert somebody the idea of what is a sales funnel, why you need a sales funnel, let me introduce ClickFunnels to you that is a software that builds sales funnels. It is going to be a lot easier to target people that's already hot, people that's already sold by the concept that they need a sales funnel, but they just don't know which software to go with.
Use, right.
Right? So there are different layers of awareness, and affiliate marketing is all about getting the people that's already saying yes and place the offer in front.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely going to integrate that in my own business as well. So, cool. Let's move on to the next question, right? So I did a bit of research on you, and I found out that when you first started out on selling, your products online, you mentioned that you used an alias called, Tony Sanders. Since
Yes.
at the time, you believe that nobody would buy from a Malaysian guy named Peng Jun, right? And that an English name would be a lot more legitimate. Do you think that this is still relevant today, for someone who has a Malaysian accent, for example, and is not completely fluent in English? What do you think?
My take is whatever you believe is real is real.
Right.
If a person believes that people won't take them seriously because of an Asian accent, if they believe that, it's real. Whatever we believe is real will always be real. If a person believes they're too young to do it, they'll be too young to do it. If a person believes that they're too old to do it, they'll be too old to do it. So my belief back then was people will not buy from me because I have a Malaysian accent, I have a Malaysian name, and because of that, people will not buy from me. And because I had that belief, what I believe is real is real. So I had to hide behind a pen name, Tony Sanders, for many, many years. Right. So it's only much later, after it was a journey of growth, and after having done all that, after having done the events, the seminars, the workshops, the speaking, I realized at the end of it all, it was just a self-limiting belief.
Right. I really, really love that because I think when it comes to building a business, especially if you have nothing, a lot of people think that to start a business you need capital. You need a lot of capital to start something. So you need to have money, and these are all self-limiting beliefs that are stopping you from actually achieving your inner potential, like what you can actually do with just your mind and your body, right?
Yeah.
So it's really like that. So, so what do you think are the best? Since we were talking about building an authority in a specific niche down and build and become a specialist in an area, but for those of our audience, for our audience who don't really, because your experience, right? Our audience, a lot of them they're actually just starting out. So maybe you could share some of the best credibility building hacks that you can share to demonstrate authority within a niche.
Okay, so is your question more like, if I'm starting out and I'm not new and nobody knows me and I've got no testimonials and no credibility, what is the best way to establish credibility? Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
The first one is, step number one is you got to get good. Okay. Most people today are trying to play this game of creating an illusion that they're good, when in fact they're not really good. And the truth is, in today's world, it's really not hard to get good at something. It's really not. Like, I truly believe if a person had zero distractions and for 7 full days they did nothing but went on real good courses that covers Facebook ads, they would be able to grasp all of the basics in theory by watching all those videos on tracking, targeting, retargeting, all those things. The thing that would be lacking would be experience. So how do you get experience? By actually doing it and getting your hands dirty, by getting good at it through experience. So what do you do if you're just starting out with zero credibility? Number one is you gotta spend time getting good. Okay, that's like number one. Now, once you get good at something, doesn't need to be the best in the world, but you're actually good at it. Then number two is all about taking somebody through that process and getting them results. That's step two. Get somebody else results. Now, your question might be, so what if nobody wants to hire me or work with me because I've got no track record? So that is where you gotta be hungry. You gotta be willing to take on a client that says, hey, look, I'm willing to do this for you for free. If I did this for you, and if I delivered results, would it be okay if I used what I did for you as a case study? Because that will help me help the audiences get the result I know they could be doing in this marketplace.
Right.
So that's step number two, be willing to work for free. And number three is really document that process so that you can use it in marketing. The most powerful thing in marketing is the ability to demonstrate your results. How do you do that? By creating case studies, by having testimonials, by having a vault of all these different assets that can be used in marketing. So that's really it. That if nobody knows you, you gotta start somewhere. Get good, be willing to work for free, document the case studies.
So those are really, really valuable tips. So I recently personally went through a Facebook advertising course, and it's by one of the top Facebook advertisers, and I realized that because my existing business is built on purely organic results, right? And because I'm starting this new thing, where we train people how to start e-commerce businesses. So we started building funnels and stuff like that. And then when we start turning on our Facebook ads, like I know how to do it, but personally, I've been running into a lot of issues with Facebook ads, right? With my new business, as they seem to keep banning us for no apparent reason. And I think a lot of people are facing the same issue. And I know that you mentioned before on one of your videos that a verified Facebook page doesn't get banned as often for an ad account. Can you tell me, about some of the things you've done to getting,
Okay, so let me make this distinction first, okay?
Yeah.
When a person is verified on a page, the page pretty much will never get shut down.
Right.
However, the ad account associated to it can still be disapproved, obviously, or shut down, but it's very rare, dramatically a lot less, as long as you're within the guidelines. Okay.
Right.
So I actually have never had an ad account shut down since my page was verified, but that's also because my team is very careful and they know what it is that we can say and can't say and what the guidelines are. So
navigate carefully, is it?
Yes, being verified definitely helps a lot. But can your accounts still get disapproved and shut down? Yes, but drastically a lot less.
Right. Okay. Cool. So because I'm starting to provide digital training as well, and that is the key focus for me this year actually, because most of my other businesses have already been automated, and it's a completely new thing for me now. So if someone would want to launch a course, for example, and they have some case studies already, what would be the main focus? Where should their main focus be when trying to grow a business like that?
Okay, so if a person has a course, what should be the first thing to focus on when the product is done? Is that correct?
The key focus, yes.
Key focus, marketing and sales. Any type of product can be turned into $1 million per year offer as long as they understand marketing and sales. Just marketing and sales goal. Now, how do you focus on marketing and sales? By making sure the offer is good. How do you make sure the offer is good? By actually testing it. How do you test it? By spending $100 up to $1,000 so that you can get data on every step of the funnel to see what are your conversions are. Ultimately, the whole method to growing and scaling a business from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8 is all about math. It's all about knowing your numbers. It's all about how do you build this thing that you can put $1 in ads and get $2 out or more in sales.
Right.
And how that thing would happen is purely dependent on how good your funnel is and how good that offer is. But you will only be able to know how good the offer is if you're actually testing it. Right. So marketing and sales is the main key focus when it comes to the main focus of taking something that's brand new. You must know what your conversions are, because if your conversions are not good enough, you will not be able to take it to paid traffic.
Right.
And to give you an example, maybe to go a little bit deeper is, okay, let's say I've got my book here, okay? Now this book here is a workbook people get when they join my videos challenge. Now, I know on average, every time somebody joins my challenge, because I know my numbers, I know that each person that joins my challenge is approximately $260 per challenger, okay? So what this tells me is I can pay up to $260 to acquire a customer for this specific funnel and still break even.
Right.
So even if I were to pay $130 to acquire a customer on the front end, I'm still going to make double my returns for every $1 I spend.
Right.
So that's how I grow. You grow by knowing your numbers. So how do you know your numbers? You know your numbers, and these are just the two most important numbers every business needs to know. Number one, it's how much does it cost to acquire a customer? Okay. And number two is how much is an average customer worth when they go through that funnel. Okay. This is the only two things a person needs to know. The first question, you'll be able to know the answer really easily from Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, right? If you spend $100 and you got 5 sales, you'll know that it costs you $20 to acquire a customer. Okay, how much does it cost to acquire a customer? Number two, how much is a customer worth on average whenever they go through that funnel? That platform, that software which you use should tell you what that number is. So personally, I use ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels tells me what the average cart value is. Right. When you know these two numbers, that is the path to scaling. So what should a person do when they're just starting out? These two numbers is the only thing you should be concerned about. Number one, how do you decrease the cost of you acquiring a customer? This is how you write better ads, more engaging, more shareability, right? So that you decrease the cost of your Facebook ads or YouTube or Instagram. And number two, you increase how much an average customer is worth by having funnels in place, by having upsells, by having order bumps, by having recurring, and by increasing the conversion of all those steps. That is why the things that I sell online, they all have a funnel to it, a different step to it, because I know exactly what those numbers are. And when I know those numbers are, it allows me to scale my offers and my products.
Right. Okay. So just to put things into context a little bit, like for example, right now I only have one product. I only have one video course, right? Would it still be profitable to drive someone into a one product funnel? Because not everyone has a lot of resources to create and just create a lot of upsells and a lot of other the upsells, the order bumps and stuff like that. Yeah. What do you think?
100% yes. So one of my coaching students, Stephen Yong, in fact, he is in a similar space, e-commerce business. In the online world, he has one funnel, one webinar funnel that runs every hour on the hour. And he's actually done over $500,000 promoting that one funnel, which is a webinar funnel, selling his e-commerce course that sells every hour on the hour. Okay. Right. How does he do it? By knowing his numbers. He knows exactly what the conversion rate is on his webinar He knows exactly how much he can pay to acquire a customer, and all he does is send people to that automated webinar that runs every hour on the hour. So to answer your question, 100% yes. Have you seen his funnel before or his ads before?
Unfortunately, I have not. Maybe we can talk about this after the show.
Yeah, but yes, so 100% that's what.
Okay, so I'm assuming from what I hear from you, it's you leverage a lot on paid advertising to grow your business, and so your students are also trained to do so. Am I correct?
Yes. Paid traffic is the thing that gets you results now. Free traffic is long term, and you still want that, but people like you and I, we need to pay our credit cards at the end of the month, right? We have overheads, we have expenses, we run businesses. So paid traffic is short term, free traffic is long term, and a good traffic strategy is always having a mixture of both.
Right. Okay. So what would be how would you grow free traffic in your opinion? Like, how do you maintain the foundation and to ensure that the long-term traffic still rolls in?
So this is where multiplying content comes in. This is about understanding how do you create content, put it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, for example, would be organic, right? I think of YouTube as creating a video and putting it out there once, and this video is like a salesman that sells for you for life. Like literally, this one video will bring in leads over and over and over again organically, because that's how YouTube works. YouTube, when you post a video up there, if it's optimized properly, what's going to happen is your videos get discovered two ways. Number one is it will appear on Google when you search for a keyword and YouTube video appears, or if YouTube can see your retention on the video is very good, it will come up as a suggested video when people are seeing a video that is related to that topic, right? So unlike Facebook, if you put a video up, if it doesn't take off organically in the first 48 hours, chances are it'll never take off organically. You got to rely on boosting it and paying for it. Right. YouTube, on the other hand, is very different. You create something, and if you optimize it, it will be there like literally for life. So that is why if you have a content strategy, if you're multiplying content across all these different platforms, this is how you can utilize both free and paid traffic. Right.
So for those of you that has not heard of Ping Jun's content multiplier formula book, I bought it and I read it, and I think it's a fantastic process. I've adapted it to my company's content generation process as well. But I'm just curious, how do you go about cranking out so much content, in the first place? The ideation.
The whole thing, number one, is to document everything that you do. Like literally, okay? So like before this call, one of the things I want to do is I wanted to tell you, like, I want to be on Instagram, right? So this is Instagram Live. Rule number one is to document everything that you're doing. Okay, so I'm documenting it. I don't know if I'm going to repurpose or have it saved, but I have the option. At the same time, if you see like Adrian with the video is there, right? I have it set up so that, who knows, this could be a piece of content somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to use it on YouTube, on a podcast. So the most crucial thing for anything really is start documenting. So you can become a powerhouse content creator just by documenting what you're already doing right now. Your Zoom calls, your coaching calls, your consulting, your meeting with your team. Everything has a place for it. Right. And you're going to realize how powerful these things would be next time. Like, my pain is, I really wish in the first few years when I was shooting videos, especially my first video where I had to take like 30 plus takes for a video, I wish I documented it. That is gone forever. you know.
Right.
But it would be priceless as a marketing material if I had access to that today. So do not underestimate what you're already doing right now, because that, when you document it, could be one of your greatest marketing assets ever when you use it in the future. So one of the things that I do is, so to give you an example, last year when I was speaking at Funnel Hacking Live, I played a video of how I first started out when I was on stage. Okay.
Right.
And I was actually in a seminar, this is like close to 10 years ago now, and I was literally destroyed by the trainer. I think you might have seen that video before.
I have.
And yeah, I was terrible.
Was it half T Eka?
Yeah, let's not mention names, but let's just say
okay.
it rhymes with Tihar Ecker, right? So anyway, so when Russell saw that, he was like, wow, I want to be able to, that's very powerful, right? So one of the things Russell boxed me is, he told me like, I am going to use that in this year's funnel hacking. So this year's funnel hacking, one of the things he did was he played a video of his very first presentation ever. So he was bald, he was in a suit and tie, and at the end of, when he came to the close, his close was, who wants a piece of that? Okay, that's exactly what he said. He said, who wants a piece of that? And you could see like the room like was just weird and awkward and silent. Everybody was looking at each other. And that when people saw that, people couldn't believe that Russell today used to be like that. And that was one of the most powerful things people could see when they can see that transformation. So in the close, when he closed that $25,000 offer again, he used the same exact slide. I thought it was brilliant. His close was, who wants a piece of that? You know, and he kind of linked it through. Anyway, so conclusion is, document what you're doing. It's going to be a very powerful marketing piece that you'll be able to utilize in the future.
It's a fantastic tip. So you mentioned Russell from ClickFunnels, I'm assuming. So I know that you're one of the biggest users and affiliate for ClickFunnels. Can you tell us about how you got started with ClickFunnels and how has it evolved since you first started using it? And also for those people that are about to create their first ever sales funnel, like myself, I could really learn from you as well. What advice would you give to these people?
So I discovered it during a time when I did what most marketers would do. I was on WordPress and lead pages, and like I know those guys. Those guys are brilliant people. But the problem was I was trying to fit everything together by kind of like duct taping everything together. So I would have my WordPress site, and then I would have my lead pages funnel thing, and then I would try to connect it with some API, with the autoresponder, with all these different things. And back then, like my team was close to 30 people about 6 years ago. Okay,
right.
6 years ago, about 28 people, and I had 2 developers, okay, and programmers. And then all these different tech things would be something I do not handle because it was just, I wasn't from a tech background. But when I went to that event, funnel hacking, I think 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I saw this lady who was sitting in the room, and she was like 50 plus, and she was just looking at what the speaker was saying, and she was making the changes on the spot. And I was like, if she can do it and make the changes like that, like, I don't think this thing is hard. And I don't think we should complicate things by having these programmers and developers and doing things that would take
Jun, you're breaking up a little bit for some reason. Hello?
Let's see. Right. Yep, that was me. Are we back?
Yes, we are back. Sorry, you were saying?
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, so when I saw her make those different changes, that was when I realized, I should probably be on board and check out the software.
Right. Cool. So, like, has it changed over the past 4 to 5 years? Has it, improved by a lot? Do they?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So for
They've
those,
done the community features, absolutely.
okay. So for do you recommend ClickFunnels for those people who are creating their first ever sales funnels? Without any programming knowledge, you just want to get started ASAP. Would ClickFunnels be the go-to solution?
Unless you hate money, okay? If you hate money, then don't sign up for ClickFunnels. But if you love money and you want to help more people, then yes.
Right. Okay, that's very powerful. Okay. So I also found out from research that you're not an advocate for, the brutal hustle work schedule, that people like Gary Vee advocate so much, getting up at 6 a.m., working 12 hours a day. And personally, I'm like that myself. In fact, I usually go to work at 10, 11 a.m. So what do you have to say about those guys who, preach the brutal work hustle, and how do you manage to stay productive, even when you work fewer hours in the work week, for example?
Hustling only makes you tired, okay? That's all I can say. I came into work, I don't know. Adri, what time did I come in today? Let me ask him.
What time?
Yeah.
Around 12.
Around 12? Okay, Adri thinks I came in at 12. I actually came in at 3 o'clock, okay? I came in, and that's about, okay, first of all, my lifestyle is I like to wake up, I go to the gym, I take my protein shake, I do all of that, and because I normally work a lot better, like I'm not a day person at all. So to me, all those productivity guys and gurus that say, oh, to get that edge, you gotta wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. I can't remember when was the last time I did. In fact, I can't even remember, unless I've got events, okay? If it's not events, I never sleep with an alarm clock, ever. All of that is a myth. It is not about how many hours. Some people take pride in like, oh, I only sleep 5 hours a day, and like it's something to be proud of. I'm proud that I sleep at least 8 hours a day, okay? It is all about leverage. That's number one. I think the most important thing. Leverage, ability to delegate, and number three, systems. Yeah, leverage, ability to delegate, systems, productivity. Hustling.
Can you just elaborate a little bit more on leverage, please?
Okay, so when a person is starting out and they're alone, there's zero leverage because you try to do everything yourself, right? So effort in equals effort out.
Right.
You put one in, you get one out. That's when you don't have leverage.
Yep.
Leverage means by putting one thing in, you get 12 things out. Okay. So for example, we talked about content multiplier. What is content multiplier? It's about leverage. Shooting one video and have that one video appear on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram stories, on your blog post, on your articles, on Medium. Be everywhere. Why? Because there's leverage and because there's a system. Okay. So if a person with no system and no leverage tried to do that, it would be, oh, I got to create this thing, and now I'm going to put it on Facebook manually, now I'm going to put it on Instagram manually, and now I'm going to put it on IG stories, now I've got to create the thumbnail myself, now I got to create the transcript, now I got to write the article, I've got to rewrite it and put it on Medium, because there's no leverage and there's no system. So they try to do it all themselves, and they're hustling 8 hours a day to get that accomplished, when it could take me 5 minutes to shoot that video and I'm done because I have a system in place and I've got leverage. Okay, so that is what I mean by leverage. You can only get leverage by having the right systems in place, using the right tools, having the right people.
Right. I think that's very powerful. Yeah. Okay, so very interesting to hear your insight on, sleeping 8 hours a day, you're proud of it, and I'm proud of it as well. I'm really happy that you're getting enough sleep, right? So another thing that I've I found out about you is that you're also venturing into the supplements market. Can you just tell me a little bit more about that side of the business?
For me, I'm always thinking about how can I support the people that I want to serve, and I feel that especially in the Asia market, not enough emphasis is given to health, especially for maybe not in Singapore, but in Malaysia. I can tell you a lot of people will gladly give up their health for money and try to use that money to buy back their health at a later stage in life. And to me, that's very sad.
Right.
You know, the food in Malaysia in general is not healthy. It's usually oily and greasy and fattening, and it's a real problem. So I want to be able to be the person that changes that landscape by really bringing in greens and supplements and really making a difference in health.
Right. So you will be so from what I hear from you, it's really targeted at the Asian market. And are you gonna test it out in Malaysia first before
No, it's still going to be an online offer,
Right.
funnels and all of that, but the main demographics will be Asia for this one.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. So when is this going to be
In
launched?
about a month's time, will be out.
Okay, I'll look forward to that as well. So
Yeah.
can you walk us through the thought process on deciding to enter a new market? Like, what do you think are the most important questions to ask during this time? Like, for example, I'm assuming that this is completely new to you. Like, what kind of questions go through your head before you?
The first thing is always, is this thing proven? The last thing I want to do is to go into a brand new market without any type of benchmark on what's proven. Proven in terms of the product, the offer, the price point, the funnel, what the upsells are, what their traffic sources is, how they distribute. So the first thing I'm looking at is this thing proven? And how can I use the proven strategies and model it and use them as a benchmark so I know what I'm striving for? Not to copy, but rather to use it as the starting point that this is the best practice that's currently working and how we can do things better. That's number one.
Right.
Whenever I go into a brand new market, same thing. So like for this supplement, I ask the same questions. Who are the people that's crushing it? Who are the people that are making at least 8 figures from the sales of this type of supplement? Who they target, what their price points are, how does their sales process look like, what are the distribution channels, yeah, how are they getting their traffic, how does their community look like? That is the first thing you want to do, because success leaves clues. To reverse engineer and model somebody that's already doing it.
Right. Let me just write down notes. I think that's really, really helpful.
And we don't need to be very into because it's really fun. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that those are the key indicators that you look out for, right? Like, which is proof, a benchmark, benchmark somebody who's already crushing it in the market. Proof that the offer, the price point, the ideal targeting and distribution channels before you decide to go full force into the market. Am I correct to say that?
Correct. It's always whatever market you want to go into. For the persons that's listening to this, know that there is somebody out there that's crushing it right now. Whether it's Forex, whether it's dating, whether it's gardening, whether it's playing computer games, whether it's Facebook marketing, there's somebody making millions of dollars in that marketplace. Even if you think that market is weird, whether you think that market is like a passion or a hobby, there's somebody crushing it in selling makeup. There's somebody crushing it in reviewing toys. There's somebody crushing it. So if you believe that there's somebody crushing it, then the next question to naturally ask would be, so what are they doing that you're not doing? What are they doing in terms of their email marketing? What are they doing in terms of their price point? What are they doing in terms of the offer? What are they doing? All those things, map it all down and use that as a benchmark, because success always leaves clues.
Right. Success always leaves clues. That's very powerful. Okay. So if there's the last question, okay, before we wrap this interview up. If there's someone who just started out with absolutely no experience whatsoever and they want to make money online, right? And they're looking for their first ever sale, like your World of Warcraft Evo. What is the one single advice, like tone it down to one single advice? What would you tell these aspiring entrepreneurs?
Focus on something until you succeed. Most people stay beginners because they're constantly dabbling. They try out 1 week Jeremy's e-commerce course, and then 1 week later, oh, Ping Jun's new thing looks good as well. And then 1 week later, they're trying Ping Jun thing. And then 1 week later, oh, this Alibaba drop shipping thing looks very exciting as well. And 1 week they're starting something else. So stop dabbling. Most people, I dare say, are dabblers. And most people, the reason they never achieve mastery is because they're not willing to go through that initial stage of being bad at something in order to be good at it. If you want to achieve mastery, whether it's drop shipping, affiliate marketing, anything really, know that they all work. But you got to follow a system and work on that system until you actually succeed. Okay? So get somebody that's already done it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, and stay on path, stay on course until you actually see results.
Okay, I think that really connects with me as well, because for those of you who don't know, like when I just started out my e-commerce business, I was freelancing here for all kinds of stuff. I was still looking for opportunities, like always exploring and dabbling into different things, just like what Ping Jun has mentioned. And I really started to see results when I stopped everything else. I started blocking out everything else and started doubling down, right? So, and that's how you can achieve mastery, right? So thank you so much, Ping Jun. Just to recap for our audience, Ping Jun is an epic hustler, and he started out his journey by simply leveraging on online resources to create his first ever digital product about, his favorite video game at the time, World of Warcraft. And since then, he's went into, the public speaking space and became one of the top online entrepreneurs in the world. And he now runs a very successful company, Smallbo. And Smallbo focuses on helping people and companies grow in the digital space with training, coaching, and they also provide agency services as well as consultation from the man himself, right? So he's also venturing into the supplement market, and it's gonna be due to launch in 1 month, so look out for that space. And he also mentioned that in general, he looks to, when starting a new business, he looks to benchmark somebody who's already crushing it in the space and finding out proof that the offer, the price point, the ideal targeting, distribution channels to decide the viability of entering a new market. So with that, I'll be wrapping up the show for today, and thank you once again for joining us, Ping Jun.
Thanks, Jeremy, for being on this call. I hope that for those of you that would be watching this video, which isn't many of you, this is just, closed doors, but I hope you get inspired by people that's done it, by people that's taking action. Jeremy's absolutely crushing it right now. Follow him. He's going into that space of education and teaching people what he has done in the e-commerce space, and he's definitely a practitioner and implementer.
Okay, thanks, Ping Jun. Have a good weekend.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.